Welcome to the Computer Repair Podcast, episode number 294, Social Media Frenzy. I'm your host, Jeff Halash. This is our live show where we discuss the ins and outs of running your computer repair business. Let me introduce the co-hosts. We have Cormac Donahue from Crosshaven Computers. Cormac, how you doing?
It's all good in the hood here in little old Ireland, live from Ireland here tonight, and you can start doing the subtitles now if you can, so ye Americans or all around the world can understand me. So yeah, that's me anyway.
Awesome. Great to have you here. And also joining us, we have Pat Palmer from The Computer Guy. Pat, how you doing?
Well, doing very well. I was glad to be on with Cormac because I follow him on Facebook and we chit chat back and forth on a couple things. And just for him, I have opened up Ireland on my Facebook page so people in Ireland can see what I'm doing on Facebook now.
Nice.
Just for him.
And we will definitely get into the whole Facebook thing. I know it's a love or hate it from a lot of people. So, but we know that being social media and having to get the word out there about our different businesses, that is definitely one of the forms that people do use. So let's go ahead and start off, and we're going to share a tip or story with us that we could learn from. And Cormac, I'm going to have you go ahead and start and give us something that we could learn from.
Right, Jeff. My tip of the week really is I'll start. It's kind of a two-tip thing, really. A couple of years ago, you had a guest on from Ireland. His accent wasn't as nice as mine, but he done it was on the Podnutz Daily Show, and his name was Colin Baker, and I listened and re-listened to that podcast because it was a bit different. He didn't talk about tricks or tips or anything like that. He talked about the importance of knowing where your money was being spent in the business and your income and outcome. And that's where my tip is going to come from. My tip is for anyone starting out or even whatever level of business you're at, is do a social media course. Even if you're not going to do it yourself, if you're not going to handle it yourself, you need to know where the money is spent. Also, and this is for people starting out who are looking for customers. And by that, you can do a day course or an 8-week night course or something like that. If you go into that course, there's going to be 10 other people in that course. And those 10 people have computers. So there's 10 customers right there for you. Right there, you can send me money once you start getting money. But the reason being, it's vitally important. I met another business owner around here. He's in a different business, tile business, but he asked me to do his social media. I don't do it. I'm too busy doing other stuff. But I asked him what he was doing, and he said, "Oh, he spends $600, we'll say dollars or euros a month on Google and Facebook." And I was saying, "But what are you getting for that?" And he was like, "I don't know. I'm on Google and Facebook, and could you put me on Twitter?" And I'm like, "Who's going to want you on Twitter anyway?" But the point being is that if you need to know where your money is being spent, if you're paying a social media company, you need to see where the results are. If you're doing it for yourself, you need, like, if you're throwing 20, 50 euros on Google AdWords or whatever, or Facebook and all that, you need to know where the results are. So my tip is basically do a social media course and throw in those 10 customers, because as soon as the teacher says, open up your computers, ka-ching, there's money to be made there, right there. So there's my tip of the week. All right.
I like that. Definitely using where you're at and what you're doing and what you're good at to kind of all work together. So that's pretty good there. All right. And Pat, I'm going to go ahead and throw it over to you. And if you could share a tip or story with us that we could learn from today.
Well, the first thing I would suggest is kind of like I joked with Cormac at first, is that you really should get used to your Facebook general settings page. Get to know that in and out. Facebook once in a while throws new things out there, and it may reset those settings. And so you want to keep an eye on your language filter. You don't want to have people in there, I draw the line on that pretty good. If somebody's going to drop whatever they want to drop in there, boom, they're gone. So sometimes that gets reset. I mean, with computer repair, I knocked that age down to 13 because that 13-year-old may have a gift idea for mom or dad or grandma or grandpa, and they're not ignorant. They're on social media too. One thing I joked at the start of the program was Cormac was saying that he thought from the conversation I had a pretty well engaged Facebook audience, but he couldn't see it. Well, what I've done is, and this is a safety tip just for your protection, is if you're in the United States or if you're from Ireland or you're from wherever you're at, why are you showing that Facebook page worldwide? All that's going to happen is somebody in India is going to get a wild hair and start trashing you. These mobile techs or the tech numbers that keep calling us here in the United States, your computer's broken, you get a couple of those people on there, and they're just going to trash your ratings. They're not going to give you good recommendations. So open that up to places that you do business. So since I do some remote, I have friends in England, and now of course we have Cormac in Ireland. I open up Ireland so people over there could see it, but be very, very cognizant of where that page is shown, because you don't know. It'll take, if you happen to get a bot that likes your page from India or Pakistan or wherever, and it just starts to go crazy on your page, you don't want that. I mean, people can tell what it is, but if people are shopping based on your relative score, which has changed from a 5-star rating to a 10, someone says, well, gee whiz, he's a 3. This other guy over here is a 4.9. Well, if you're being trashed by all these bots from India, there goes your rating system. So make sure you keep an eye on what countries can see your Facebook page. And if you don't do business in France, don't have France on there. Simple as that.
And that is great advice. Now, Pat, how often should somebody check those settings? Because I know anytime there's an update, there's a good chance that the Facebook settings, and I know this is a big problem for a lot of people, they don't like that there's even their privacy settings sometimes get reset on that.
Once a month. I mean, right now we just had this big Facebook breach they claim, and that's a good time to go through and make sure you have the 2-factor authentication on there. If you are a member of, let's say you've got a computer users group, for a matter of fact, and you have 4 administrators, which is probably 3 too many, make sure each one of those administrators has 2-factor authentication. If they don't and get hacked, that hacker gets in and they boot all the other admins out, and then they've taken over the group and you're done. So make sure no matter what group you run, whether it's a class reunion site or whatever site you have, make sure whoever is an admin must have 2-factor authentication.
That's a good point. And I'll tell you what, I think a lot of us are really starting to push that for our customers in letting them know that 2-factor authentication is something that it's not a maybe I should do it. It's you need to do this if it's available on whatever service you're using.
Right. Yeah, absolutely.
All right. So I've got a couple of tips this week. Number one, I've got an announcement. So this, believe it or not, as I was looking through my notes today, this is the 200th live episode. Now, a lot of people know that this podcast started way back in 2008, and Steve Cherubino was running the podcast as an audio only podcast. But I started doing this as a live show on episode number 94. And that was back in September 7th, 2014, over 4 years ago. I couldn't believe it. I'm like, 4 years we've been doing a live show almost weekly. So that's awesome. And glad to be doing it and excited that I've made it this far. We'll see how much farther I can go. With that, my second tip is, and this is probably more of a personalized tip, maybe not so tech. It is kind of tech related though. Hey, pay attention to your surroundings. And we've all seen these funny commercials where somebody will be walking down the street looking at their phone and walk into somebody or a pole or a building or something like that. Well, last week I was vacationing with my family, seeing my son and daughter-in-law and 2 grandkids, and basically was walking down a path on Mount Rainier. And I decided while we were walking down in a downwards fashion, I would take out my phone and I was videotaping my family as they were walking in front of me. As soon as I shut the video off, the very next step I took I must have stepped on a root or something like that was sticking out of the ground and basically rolled my ankle over sideways.
Ugh.
Not a whole lot of fun. So after I got through the pain of that and having to actually walk back off the mountain to the car, we were at a spot, and this is probably the second part of the tip, is that we're at a spot where we could basically go and see these large trees. And since we were all the way in Washington State, I was like, I don't know if I'll ever get back here. So you know what? I've got a stick in my hand. And I said, forget it. We're going to do this. I said, it's only a mile out and a mile back. No big deal. So I proceeded to walk on the foot for that extra couple miles that I probably shouldn't have. So I probably should have just stayed in the car. But anyways, everything worked out, and I was able to take some extra time off work and rest it. So the wonderful thing about that is I've been able to spend the last 4 days in front of my computer, which doesn't happen a whole lot. And I was able to play some games and actually finish some games up and play with some of my kids, some of the multiplayer games that I enjoy playing. So that's a plus there. And for my third and last tip, use whatever works. And what I mean by this is if you use Gmail and you enjoy Gmail, or you use Outlook, or you use the Microsoft services, or maybe use some Google services, I tried to take a stance of trying to be in one universe. The problem is if you're not used to working just in that one universe, or there's things that are missing that you're not used to, it's easier just to stay in multiple universes and use whatever's going to work for you. Because a lot of times we spend more time trying to learn things and try to get up to speed on how they're going to work better for us, and we end up making ourselves more work. So if you're using something that's already working for you and it's not a big time suck, and you know exactly how it works, you can set it up with your eyes closed. Just keep using those systems because it's going to make your life a lot easier. Now, that's not saying you can't try other things out, but definitely keep those systems in place so that until you get used to something else where you can maybe go, okay, this is taking more time than I want. So that's my third tip.
Nice.
All right, so let's go ahead and we're going to take a quick break and talk about the convention coming up in 2019, and then we'll get into our main topic. We are throwing, Paco LeBron and myself are throwing the TechCon Unplugged September 20th through the 22nd, 2019. It is in Grand Rapids, Michigan. If you want more information, just go to techconunplugged.com and you can sign up for the email newsletter, and we will be sending information out, and we will actually have more things on the website here within the next couple of weeks, tickets, hotels, all that kind of stuff, so that you can start getting that stuff ahead of time. I know we've had a couple people in our Facebook group that basically has said, hey, if you could get those tickets up for sale before the end of the year, that'd be great. So I think a lot of people are looking for some extra things to take off the tax burden here in the U.S. anyways. I'm not sure how it is in Ireland, Cormac, but I would imagine it's close to the same type of thing. But anyways, go ahead and do that. So let's go ahead and go into our main topic, and that is, hey, do we really need social media? And what are some of the benefits? And I know absolutely zero about social media other than how to log in. So that's why these two guys are here, because they're going to teach us about the things that they do and the things maybe that do work, and maybe even some of the things that don't work and that we should avoid from the get-go so we don't waste a whole lot of extra time. So I'm going to go ahead. Cormac actually brought up this subject, so I'm going to go ahead and have him kick it off and let us know what types of things do we need to do when it comes to social media, or where should we start?
Okay, Jeff, congratulations on the 200th show, and I'm going to come in strong here on social media, and I'm delighted that Patrick is the guest as well, because Patrick thinks outside the box, and that's how you make social media work, okay? Now, we'll start with social media for business. I remember starting out years ago, and if I had to look for answers and stuff, you had either Google or bleeping computer at the time, you know. Nowadays, just before we get onto the advertising side of things, nowadays we have the secret Facebook group, which I urge you to join, where you can pose questions. Another group I'm in, and I'll put them in the show notes, is Tech for Techs. It's a Facebook group where I can ask questions nowadays for people. So we have it instant nowadays, you know. Now, I will talk about how important social business is, media is for business. I'm a child of the 2008 recession. I bought a house right out in 2008. It was made redundant. I had to start this with my business with absolutely nothing. Good thing about that is that I couldn't make expensive mistakes. I could not throw €20 or $20 for Google AdWords. It was not happening, you know. And this is a true story. It'd be a long day. I was getting buses at 6 o'clock to my course and then coming back to work. And I bought 50 business cards. But I had no time to give them, no networking events. I had no money to go to networking events anyway, you know. So all jokes aside, I would leave, when I was getting off the bus, I would leave a business card on the bus. You know, it was like just in case, you know, just to get the name out there. And then I got a present off my father. I went to a Facebook for photographers course for a day. And they were just showing you how to use Facebook. And I left that course and literally stood outside and shook my head and went, oh my God, I'm doing it all wrong, you know? And this is where I'm going to alienate a large percentage of the audience and say that I look at people doing computer repair on Facebook, and they're saying it's not working, they're doing it wrong. Simple as that. As I was talking with Jeff beforehand, you see, ads, we could go into how ads work and all this, but we'll stay out of that for a while. I see them putting up stuff like SSDs make your HHD processor Z, you fall asleep. People have no interest in seeing that, zilch interest in, and the common person don't know. So after my first course, I decided to do engaging ads, and they're working for me. I was up for second year in a row, up for Digital Marketing Award. So the question is, how do you make computer repair interesting? I went down a different route. I decided to make my name a brand. Crosshaven Computers was a brand. So I've done ads. Now, I don't want you to think that, you know, there's this crazy mattress Mick ads, you know, where you do crazy stuff, you know. They started off like that, but they're getting more professional, you know. The first ad I done, it was a filmed ad. It was something, but it was filmed. It was me hitting an iPhone or something, okay. But we launched it at myself and my girlfriend at the time shot the ad at 6 o'clock on a Sunday evening. We launched it straight away. By 9 o'clock, it got 2,000-3,000 views. Next morning, I was walking around the village. People were saying, hey, we saw your ad, we saw your ads. You know, the young people were scared. Hey, it's a computer guy. They started saying the catchphrase that I had done on the ad. Then it expanded. I've done more and more ads like that. I remember we put an iPhone at the end of a drone. We flew that around our village, made people watch, engaged. I went into the gym the next day. The 9 people in the changing room, every single one of them was talking about the ad. That got 10,000-15,000 views, you know. So our ads are always engaging. I done a Google Home dating, kind of how to use Google Home for dating nights. But the whole idea behind this has been to make your ads engaging. There's actually very little about computers, you know. And people will say, how will you get this for business? You know, residential brings business, you know. I tried to make them topical. I had great fun with the World Cup ad, you know, the rivalry between Ireland and England in soccer. I was sitting on an ad for that, and there's a shout out to Phil in England if he's listening, because he'll get this joke. I was sitting on an ad. I was waiting every time England reached the knockout stages. I was waiting for England to get knocked out. I had the ad ready. The minute England were knocked out, we'll say at 9:45, my ad was a picture of, which I had ready, of the English goalkeeper down on his knees crying as, you know, as the ball went in the back of the net. And the caption on that was, having trouble saving, you will always save money at Crosshaven Computers. So I launched that ad straight away as the game finished. And literally people turned off the television. I came in strong with big budget, we'll say 40 quid, but I was only going to run it for a night. So I was only going to run 10 euros of that. You know, I came in strong. So when people turned on their computers after the match, they just saw that ad, you know, that ad went well. Someone did comment, how long was I sitting on that ad? And the English people in the audience will get that. I was like, since 1966, you know. But the point being is that all my ads have always been to put out brand awareness, you know, and you need to have fun. You can't, I'll tell, like, so I done my first course, okay? By the time I went to my second course, I knew what I was doing, okay? I went into the course. The teacher was there saying about a tea company which had spent thousands of pounds on ads, and they were pulling them because they weren't working. But the tea company were just putting up a box of tea. Like, who the hell wants to like a box of tea? Now, if they had done a 10-second ad of the tea being picked in India, fast forward it coming to Cork in Ireland, people would have watched that, you know. So I went up to the teacher at the halftime break, and I went, look, these are the results I'm getting. And he was like, oh my God, you're getting better results than this marketing department, which are spending thousands, you know. And apparently the teacher afterwards, when he was training in social media around the country, would bring up my page and would say, now this is kind of a double-edged compliment. He was kind of saying, look at what this guy is doing down in Crosshaven with very little money and not overthinking it. Now, they're not overthinking it. There was a point in that, in the sense that, you know, people can say you're aim your ads here, aim your ads there, aim your ads everywhere. You don't have to, in the sense that everyone who's on a device is your customer, you know. And and I'll let Patrick talk now, but in general, how important social media is to your business, go down to the local bank, look at people standing in a queue, yeah? What are they looking at on their phone? They're looking at Instagram, they're looking at Facebook. That's what they're looking at. That's it. On the buses, just look. Anywhere they're going, they're looking at those, and they should be looking at your ads. You have to make them engaging. I'll come back in. I'll just let Patrick have his view on it.
I got one question before Pat starts. That is, where were you putting these ads? And keep it a simple answer.
So where I was just aiming them for Facebook around my 10-mile radius, you know. Gotcha. That's what I'll just one last ad I'll tell you about. I use Snapchat filters, the AR filters. We had a dinosaur. And then I uploaded to Instagram and over to Facebook. But the dinosaur was in the middle of our village. It was like Jurassic Park, and the ad was, "Is your computer a dinosaur?" But people just saw a dinosaur in the middle of the village, and they were just, you know, they were sharing it left, right, and center, you know.
That's very good. So Pat, I know, you know, the name on your Google account here is Homegrown Social Media, and I know that's you've been talking about that for many, many years since I've known you and listened to you on different shows and whatnot. So where do you start with the whole social media platform, and what are some of the do's and don'ts?
Well, I while Cormac was talking, I went and got a sandwich, and that came back. And this portion of Podnutz brought to you by the computer guy. You know, I kind of have a part of it is kind of a funeral home mentality. Why do funeral homes advertise? I mean, nobody dies. I mean, people die every day, but not people that you're going to pay for a funeral for. But when it happens, you want to be there for them. And so that's kind of how I view a lot of social media is, if you have a constant stream of top of mind thoughts. I do very few ads. I don't think I've done an ad. I did an ad last around Black Friday last year on my remote repair sort of stuff, and I just get so good engagement. Like Cormac says, I'm gonna use that idea of putting a dinosaur in my downtown square like he's going to eat the top of the courthouse. That's a good idea. I'll use that. But I don't think you have to hit people over the head day and night with this stuff, because then they'll say, oh my God, it's him again. They'll unfriend you, or they'll block your page, or they'll just unlike your page. And so what I see a lot of, and we'll get to the homegrown stuff in a minute, is I constantly look at the insights. And I'm sure Cormac does, because he's seeing how well things do. But I also put in 5 of my competitors, and I follow them. And so when my competitors like, social media doesn't work for me, and then I look at their page and they've had 0 posts the last week. Of course it's not going to work. You didn't post anything. And so if over a week's time, I'm posting on the average about 10 or 15 things a week, and that's kind of a rolling number, and I'm getting then next to it, the engagement is up over 250. That to me is a good number. I'm seeing once in a while my number of page likes will go up a little bit here and there. I just posted the link about the Facebook breach. Made it. I just don't post the link. Everybody knows what the link is. They want to see a post, and how does it affect me? And this is the time to check your Facebook. Were you logged out of Facebook accidentally? Did you notice a log out? Might be time to check your security settings and include 2-factor authentication. And then I post the link. So these link farms or link droppers, that's just all they do. And they get no engagement. If you tie in something on a link on how it affects you or your customer, that's the key. They're going to click on stuff like that. They're going to get engaged with things like that. So personalizing or finding a pain point or finding something like that is going to directly affect them. That's how I do extremely well on social media. Am I selling, like Cormac says, all these tech terms out there? No, I'm not using jargon. I'm using what people talk like at the bank or like at the hardware store. If I was, if the car auto repair place talked about your engine timing and really got specific on engine timing, who cares? All I got to know is, hey, Pat, your engine's running rough. Maybe new spark plugs are in order. Well, I know what those are, but I don't need to know what the timing is or anything like that. So if you have to dumb it down, per se, dumb it down a little bit. I mean, like newspapers, for example, are written pretty much on a 5th, 6th grade level of reading because they don't want to exclude their audience. So make sure that you include your audience where you've got it dumbed down enough where they can understand what you're talking about. Computer running slow, perfect example. You could do a slow motion something or other, a lot of possibilities, but they understand my computer is slow. They understand that. Everybody does. And so you don't have to tell them all the specifics of, well, you need this, you need that. Yeah, more memory, but you don't need to get into a lot of that. They understand the computer's running slow. With the homegrown social media, my business partner and I, we're constantly fielding social media questions, mostly about Facebook, but other stuff as well. And I run a couple of pages for some people I don't really like to. I mean, it's just out there, and I'll help them. I'm kind of like a co-administrator on about 2 different pages. And if they have trouble or they need to do something, I'll step in and adjust something for them or show them, do this, not that type thing. But as far as running pages, I don't care, but I'll teach you how to do it. I'll teach you the ins and outs of going to that general settings page. And if you're a bar or something, well, then people maybe under 21 don't get included in the posts. Or if you're a restaurant, hey, people are going to work at 7:30 in the morning, maybe post your noon special at 7:30 or 7 in the morning or the night before. Posting a noon special for the hot beef and mashed potatoes isn't going to do any good at 11 o'clock. People are already going to go somewhere else. So I work with people like that. Right now, our big push that we're doing, our new class is called Expanding Your Digital Footprint. And what we're doing is showing people how to work a little bit with your Google page. And this, we're talking free here. We're not talking the paid stuff. So many people out there don't even have their Google page filled out, what hours they're open, their location. The best thing to do, the key thing is when you Google somebody and you can hit dial their number, one punch, and we want that phone number on there. So some people don't even have their right phone numbers set. And so we work with that. We work a lot, when you get a new computer, Windows 10, by default, it's Edge. And by default, it's Bing as your search engine. People overlook setting up your Bing account for your business, Bing for Business. It's right there. By default, it's there. And a lot of people I deal with are older. They get a new computer. They don't know, well, I just got this new funky looking E, and that's what it is. And they don't know the difference between Internet Explorer and Edge. They think it's the same thing. But Edge has the default search engine. So you have to have your Bing account set up. Then there's another website, and I see a lot of people refer to Moz, moz.com. Well, they have a lot of good tips. I never subscribe to any of the paid for stuff. You go moz.com/local. We'll put this in the tips, wherever you put in the tips. And type in your business and see how well you're showing up in the various search engines. Hot Frog, yellowpages.com, all the major search engines are there. Google's there, Facebook's there, but all these other locations are there as well. And you should be able to Google your own business and see the first 3 pages of all your stuff if you have all these things filled out right. And that's what you want.
Very nice.
Because that's what you want.
Now, Pat, let me ask you a question. When we're talking about posting to Facebook, you said 10 to 15 posts a week to kind of keep that rotation going, which is good. Now, are you having a platform that you pre-post this stuff where it goes out automatically, or are you organically doing it by hand?
I'll do it as I do it. If I want to post anything ahead of time, I use the Facebook scheduler. Anything else I've heard so many things about Hootsuite getting penalized or Buffer getting penalized or all these other things. Facebook's got a nice scheduling tool. I just use that if I schedule anything out. So, of course, if you do schedule anything out, you want to make it more or less evergreen. Don't talk about the weather, because in Iowa, if you don't like the weather today, just wait a day. It'll change. And so, you don't put – I have a problem with that. I do a Monday morning memo that you can subscribe to at my website, thecomputerguy.bz. And so naturally, you don't talk about the weather. I write, 2 or 3 weeks in advance. So I don't talk about the weather, because you never know how that's going to turn out. Right now we're talking about, I always start the first paragraph out about some local stuff, like harvest season is going on. Halloween's coming up, something like that. A little bit about what I do, a few tips, and then usually at the bottom, a partly personal, just to let them know in my personal life what I'm doing. But this constant selling, I mean, the DVRs, that's why people use DVRs and spin through those commercials, because they're getting tired of hitting the head by all these commercials. But a tip or a cute little graphic of something, something that's related to your business. I see too many businesses posting stupid memes that have nothing to do with their business. And right now I've seen a couple of local businesses posting these political memes. There's either 2 ways. You're either right or left these days, and there's no middle ground. And don't alienate your customers like that. Don't even start on that. I mean, because that's going to alienate somebody. If you're picking a side, that's what your own personal page is for. And people who don't make the connection between you or your personal page won't see it. And I try not to really get in the middle of that either, because nothing worse than, I was on a city council here in town for years, and you want to alienate a customer, you vote to kill their dog. You'll never get their business again. And that's happened a couple times. I voted, their dog was vicious. Little Poopsie was, he just was having fun and just jumped on somebody and bit their face. And they didn't think, that was a vicious dog. Well, we did. Well, we had to vote to, you either get rid of it somehow, one way or another. But you do that a couple times and you've just lost some business there. So don't run for city council.
That's a great tip right there.
Yeah,
And I'll tell you, you're exactly right. A lot of times when people use their social media pages, I have a personal Facebook page, and the biggest reason I have a Facebook page is to keep up with family and friends, and now my computer repair tech friends, business owners, etc., and also our secret Facebook group and all that. But the reality is, if you look at even my personal posts, you won't see a whole lot. Every once in a while, you'll see some pictures of the grandkids or the kids or whatever, stuff like that, but not. I don't live on there, and I don't tell my life story because, quite honestly, I want me to be a mystery to most people. So, and there is no way that when you're talking about one thing or another, whether it's politics, religion, or whatever, that I was talking to Cormac about this at the beginning of the show before we started, but there's a lot of times you're not going to change anybody's opinion anyways. And quite honestly, the way I live my life, the way I've always lived my life is, if it's going to be, it's up to me. And I just need to do what I need to do in my life to take care of that. I don't need to let everybody else know about my problems or different things like that, or even let them know what my politics are. It doesn't matter.
Right.
It's not going to affect anybody one way or the other. We're talking about, and I was telling them, I said, if the message is positive, and we're going to go off on a little side tangent, but I loved actually the last presidential election because I was able to unfollow, and I didn't unfriend them,
Right.
but I was able to unfollow a ton of people. And my Facebook feed is so clean that I'm only maybe every couple of days I might have to hide a post or
Right.
unfollow a particular person or whatever. Because again, if it's negative, I got plenty of regular negative in my life. I don't need any more.
Right.
So I'm going to keep it all positive as best as possible. That's just my take on that. But yeah, I'm with you.
Yep.
Cormac, so obviously these ads and things work for you. You posted them on Facebook. You got some engagement there. People knew you. Now, a lot of people will say, but you're in a small town. What do I do if I'm in a big town?
Well, see, Jeff, concerning the engagement, engagement is very important with Facebook because it's after changing a bit as well. In a sense, it was all about likes before, how many likes you got. I've found now organically for my Facebook page and kind of figures, Pat would probably get more in a small town, I don't know, but it's only like 5% of people will actually see a post unless you pay. You pay. Now I can go into in the insights. You can see who doesn't like your videos and stuff like that. And believe it or not, a negative on a video really brings it down. I go for relevance scores the whole time. There's a relevance score between 1 and 10 on Facebook if you run ads. I mean, lucky enough for the last 5 ads I've ran, I got a score of 10. That means that if you can make an ad engaging, and if you can make a video with no little writing and engaging, as in people like it, and this Facebook will say you throw €10 at the ad, it will give what you call Facebook juice and will spread it around a lot more. So in a small town like this, it's also very important to use your Facebook, and as Patrick said, Google your business, Google My Business. Everyone needs to be on Google My Business. It's free. You're on the top of the page, but it's very important to aim your ads, not only if when a customer leaves, is like you'll know they're happy. You'll never make everyone happy, that, but like I know a customer who leaves with a Gmail address. If they're happy, I will send them a link saying, if you're happy, leave a review. That brought us up to 50 odd reviews on Google. And it's the same with Facebook. People go to people's pages. They don't look at the full page. If you ever look at someone's page, it's like a work of art. It's not fair to look at the full page. It's what's relevant, but they will look at the reviews, and Instagram, do not forget about Instagram. Instagram is a very, very, very cheap platform to run ads from. And you can run ads directly from Facebook to Instagram, just on Instagram. Instagram, like if you're aiming for the younger market, Facebook is not going to get it much anymore. Instagram will get it. And see, Patrick's point was very good about people don't want to be spammed with boring ads, yeah? But if you can make engaging ads, if you can make ads that, like, you know, where people are stopping you in the supermarket and stuff and saying, "Oi, we love that sort of ad." If you can, you have to make it engaging, and video if possible. And the average view of any video is 6 seconds. And if people, you know, they're on the bus, they're whatever, they're scrolling through it, they're not going to, in general, turn it on. So if you can put subtitles on it, you know, it's vitally important, you know.
I've heard that before, that a lot of times the reason you will see the subtitles on these Facebook videos is so that number one, it also helps with you know, hearing impaired and whatnot, but it just makes the video that much more, or that much better, I guess, as far as if somebody doesn't want to necessarily hear the sound, they can see the message that's being put across there. And the thing is, like you said, if it's 6 seconds that people are engaging in these things, and I would say it would be that way for an email newsletter or other things like that, or even a post. People are scrolling through things so fast on Facebook, but the point is, if you're putting something out there and it catches their eye and it's something relevant to them, then they're going to remember that name. They're going to remember the computer guy, or they're going to remember Crosshaven Computers.
I'll give you a free tip to everyone in the audience this Christmas, and Patrick, you might like this one yourself as well. Now, it's about getting your brand name out. Forget it. It's get your brand name. I'm very lucky. It's Crosshaven Computers. So it's there. The last couple of years at Christmas, and you're talking about 6 seconds clips, I go down to the local village, and you know, Santa comes along and comes down, and they have the countdown for the Christmas lights coming on, you know. And I go down and I go live and I film the last 12 seconds of the countdown till Santa lights the lights, and it's all massive excitement. It gets thousands of views for free, because you can imagine that there's a lot of people didn't make it down to the town square for it, so they're sitting at home kind of going, "Oh, we must show the kids the lighting of the Christmas tree. It's on Crosshaven Computers page." They're telling their relatives abroad, "Oh, we do recognize everyone down there in Crosshaven today at the lighting of the Christmas." What does that have to do with computer repair? Nothing. But it has to do with Crosshaven Computers. Is the ad. It's 6 seconds, 12 seconds. You run it down the town square, off you go. You go live from I heard Patrick talking about parades in this town. Go live from the parade, show interest, show that you're a local business, that you're a local people want. Believe it or not, I will, and I actually done an ad for free for them for our Caroline bookstore. We shot an old-fashioned, I shot in black and white, people coming into the shop. It was quite a clever ad, really. But believe it or not, people want to shop local, in the sense that even when I'm buying books, I will actually more than likely go to the bookstore rather than, even though I buy everything off Amazon, to support business. So if you kind of make yourself into a personality, and so your business is not like put up on your Facebook page instead of a logo, and maybe have your logo, but maybe have pictures of your staff in front of the logo, so people know this is who you're dealing with. You know, make social media work for you. Try to make it engaging is the key to it all, you know.
Very good. I like that. And so obviously, Patrick, you've embraced Facebook as a medium to share with other people. Are there other social media avenues that you go with, or do you concentrate mostly on Facebook nowadays?
Well, I'd like to address Cormac on the Christmas thing here, because, you know, everybody's going to have a Christmas hat.
That's awesome.
And he's exactly right. You know, we do a lot of parades, and we're a small town, and I do about 15 parades a year, and I always do a warm up before that. I go through, and there's always floats, and there's, you know, other businesses. I always give those other businesses 10 or 15 seconds. Hey, we're here, and we're at the Ardale Fun Day Parade, and hey, there's the water company, and there's the local butcher shop. You know, they all have cars, and I do maybe about a 3-minute little short video, and that really resonates. Hey, the computer guy is out. I'm throwing my Frisbees out. I don't have any Frisbees here. But anyway, that's what I'm doing. Let's talk a little bit about video. And as you can see, I'm sitting in my office here with the the nice blue background. I cheat. Let me show you what this blue background looks like. I wanted a place I could do YouTube videos from, where I could show, if I pointed over here, I would have a pop-up or something like that, a graphic or whatever. But I didn't want to refinish my whole office. Or this isn't even an office. This is a downstairs room. It's just a catch-all junk room. So here's what I did. I'm going to move the camera on here. I spent a couple $100. This wall is hanging from the ceiling. It's just it's an 8 foot by 6 foot wall I had built. Over here on the other side is a green screen. So if I want to do any green screen stuff, I got it there. I've got some professional lighting here that I got on Amazon for cheap. See, this is the rest of my basement. It's a real damn dump. I mean, it's real dumpy down here. I'm surprised there's not a cat jumping around. Anyway, but right now, it looks like I'm in some sort of kind of a studio-like thing. So I had that built about 2 years ago. It hangs. There's hooks on there. I can hang it from it's hung from the ceiling. I've got a different wall. It's on the other wall. There's a set of hooks over there too, and then I can swap out the green screen back and forth. So I did a green screen video last Christmas about remote repair, and so I put a scene of like a blizzard behind me. You know, you can't get out. Nobody can get out to fix your computer. It's past remote repair system to the rescue. And so anyway, I did that and got a lot of engagement from that, because in Iowa, like Michigan, we have our share of rough weather, you know.
Oh, yeah.
There's days you can't get out of the drive. You know, a lot of times the worst 20 feet of road I'll drive in a day is my driveway, because I don't like to plow it. You know, I just drive over it, and pretty soon there's a huge mound, you know, on the end of the driveway where the snowplow come by. But yeah, so it doesn't take, you don't have to refinish a whole room to look professional if you just have a board behind you, a blue board or a green screen. Yeah. So anyway, I had envisioned a lot of YouTube videos and things like that. I may do a couple of YouTube ads that might only be 10 seconds long. Hey, you know, catch somebody's attention with that and something like that. So that's what I'm looking at doing. But anyway, I wanted to, with the Facebook stuff, do Facebook videos and use the green screen as well. I rarely go live with Facebook video. I just hate it because it's stupid stuff that would be evergreen content enough that would never have to be live. Now, if there's a tornado coming down the street and I want to do a live video of that, or like Cormac said, the lighting of the town square and Santa Claus plugs in the Christmas tree and lights up, that would definitely be cool to do live. But some of the stuff is, why are you doing that live? Because there's no urgency in seeing it live. Some people would say, well, your Facebook numbers. And people say, okay, we're waiting for a few more people to show up. We're waiting for a few more people to show up. I mean, that's all a part of the video too. And that looks stupid. That's eating into that 6 seconds. Another thing that it's eating into your 6 seconds is, hi, I'm the computer guy from Hampton, Iowa. That's your 6 seconds. People saying, and they're going to hit the pause or the skip button. Catch them with a question of some sort or a statement. Are you losing valuable resources on your computer? You know, something like that, where you catch their attention in the first 6 seconds. That's what you have to do.
That's good. And I will tell you, as far as from the live standpoint of the, doing videos live. Yeah. When I get in and do a live video, which I don't do that often, but for my secret Facebook group, I do, I'll get in there and we're just, hey, here's what I want to talk about right now. And the reason I do live personally is in that instance is because I'm lazy and I don't want to take the time to, pre-record it and all that kind of stuff. So it's easy to go on Facebook, hit the button. I've got my stuff set up here in my office anyways. I talk about what I want to talk about. I hit end and boom, and that's it. And Pat, I'm with you. As far as people going, hey, we're just waiting for some more. I don't care. That video is going to be there for the people in that group to view anytime. I don't care, to be honest with you, if people view it live. Now, surprisingly enough, apparently enough people are on Facebook on a regular basis that when I start to do a live video, all of a sudden people come in there and just show up and start chatting away, which is great. But it's not what I'm looking for. I'm putting the information up in a video format because I'm lazy and I want to get it out there. So from that aspect, I look at a lot of what people do on these videos and what they try to bring together. And I'm with you guys. You got to make it to where it's engaging the person, where they want to see what it is you're talking about. Because, like Cormac said, if people are going, in looking over these things 6 seconds and they're gone on to the next thing, hey, it's like, what are we doing here? So, yeah, that's cool. I really like video and doing it, because it's, in my opinion, it's easier for me to talk a lot of times than it is to write something down. So that's where my strength would be when it's doing video. And if you can make it where it's relevant for the customer, then, and not in their face like, hey, buy my stuff. No, I want the customer that's going to know, like, and trust me, and is going to come in and go, hey, I've got a problem. I don't care what it costs to fix it. I just need it fixed. Can you fix this? Why, yes, I can. And it doesn't really matter if I'm swapping the hard drive out or changing the RAM or, tuning up the system. They don't care. They just want it back working in better condition than what they gave it to me as. So, yeah, don't overcomplicate it. So I like that. Cormac, is there anything else that you wanted to touch on as far as social media? Anything we haven't touched on?
Really, I got my first Twitter customer in 2 years. That was an interesting one. Twitter is just people massaging each other's egos. Really a business, I think, myself. But Twitter, yeah, I have some fun with your ads. That's the most important thing. All right. As I said, the very successful one, using Snapchat. It's no point advertising on it. There's just no point. But you can use the filters on it. Record something, upload it to Instagram, play around with Instagram. Instagram is gold for you. The live stuff, yes, people not watching it, they won't watch it well into the live will spread. I went live from the digital marketing awards on Friday night. That got 1,000 odd views. I'm social media, I'm all over it, in the sense that I knew I probably wasn't going to win that award. But instead, I posted a 10-second clip of my heartbreaking moment. I didn't win the award, and that got loads of reaction. That was played to the cameras, It is now, to be fair, to people out there, it is difficult enough. I've a personality to do as Patrick does, and to be able to put yourself out and about, but. It's definitely worth it for any business. My last point about the advertising is, like, you're not going to post an ad today and get a result tomorrow. It's about building brand awareness. It's about you becoming the computer guy or girl in your town. As Patrick said, you can watch your competitors, forget about them, because they're not going to be doing anything, because they're all useless. Trust me, Patrick will know that about his competitors. Anyone starting out has the advantage, because I'll tell you now, right now, your competitors are useless. I'm watching people on Facebook. You have the advantage. Do some stuff. Throw some stuff against the wall. Don't touch politics. Don't touch religion. There's just no subjects as well. But otherwise, just go out and have fun, play around with it, and it will work. And it will work, provided and do that digital marketing course,
Well, and I think going back to, Patrick is perfect, because you built a wall downstairs. And I think what a lot of people try to do is, when they're trying to do a video or whatever, they'll come up with all kinds of excuses. I don't have time. That's probably the number one. Or I don't have the right setup. I don't have the right space to do this. Or I don't have the right camera. And I think they're looking for all the best things. But the reality is, you could take your phone, which most people have. You could take your smartphone and do a video straight from that, record it on. There's several different pieces of software you can record from. You could take your laptop. The same thing. A lot of people carry around laptops nowadays, especially that are in this field, and it's got a camera on most of them. It's got a microphone. You can use all that stuff, and you can set up a simple wall to give you a background, to give you the impression that you're in a place that you're not really. And so there are no excuses. I understand, hey, you might not want to go and do a video in front of a brick cinder wall or cinder brick wall, but maybe you would, because maybe that's more organic. And the thing I've gotten from both of you guys is that we're talking about things that people can do now. And we're also talking about things that really, it doesn't matter who you are. Anybody can do it regardless of whether you believe you can or not. And you just have to take a little bit extra effort. And this is something I've explained to my kids as they've grown up. I said, listen, when you're in the workforce or you're on your own business or whatever it is you're doing, you just need to be just a little bit better or give a crap a little bit more than a lot of everybody else out there, and you'll go far. Because there's a lot of people that don't want to put in the effort, don't want to take the time, and don't want to take, like Cormac, you've taken the opportunity you've had to come up with stuff and put it out on Facebook. Pat, you've come up with showing up to these local fairs and throwing frisbees and giving candy away or whatever. And so again, you guys are out there doing what it is other people could do. They just don't for whatever reason.
Right. Absolutely. And it's just, everybody is a journalist now. If you have a smartphone, you can make the news and put it out there. And if you're doing something unique or doing something special, always submit that to your local TV station, newspaper, whatnot, and send them a link or hot link them in your Facebook post. Hey, I'm now doing XYZ, and include the local TV station's hot link in there. That builds your brand as well. I post on my personal page, I post a lot of celebrity deaths. A buddy of mine and I have a contest on who can post the most celebrity deaths first. And, someone dies, did Pat have it out first? Did Dave have it out first? Someone says, why do you do that? I said, because my reach is better than the radio station and the newspaper locally. And I'll post a lot of newsy items on my personal page because my reach, I can see where the radio station's reach is, and I can see where the local newspaper's reach is, and I can see where my reach is. And so I just have a better reach. We had a class reunion this weekend. Used Facebook pretty much exclusively. And there was a few people that were butthurt because they didn't get an invitation. Well, it's 2018, and postage is 50 cents a letter now. And we just didn't have the money to spend on all that stuff. And we just sent out invites on Facebook, and we went with what we had. So, Cormac, what I'd do for you is get yourself a $15 Santa Claus hat, and you'll be all set to go.
That's awesome.
Excellent.
So I think we've covered a lot of stuff on things that people can do as far as advertising, things that people can use social media for, and don't be scared of it. Don't be intimidated by it. And Cormac, you probably said it best. You know what? Just throw it out there and give it a shot. And it's either going to work or it's not. But Pat, you also made a point of consistency, and you have 10 to 15 posts a week. See, a lot of people, they want that one post. Oh, I didn't get any engagement.
Yeah.
Well, as Cormac said, you're doing it wrong.
Yeah.
There's this constant. This is a long game. It's no different than business or anything else you do. Even in a job, your long game is to get to that retirement point, right? It's not like, hey, I started my job today and I'm going to retire tomorrow. It doesn't work like that. That's not real life. So understand what it is, the things that you can do, and take advantage of them. Hey, maybe you'll feel silly. Maybe you'll feel stupid. I don't know, but it doesn't really matter. I mean, a lot of people don't understand this. And Pat, I know, you've been in radio for many, many years, way back when, and you're doing this now. And Cormac, you've been, you make fun of yourself all the time just with these videos and stuff like that, and you have a good time with it. But when I first started doing this live podcast, my heart would be racing like 100 miles an hour. I'm not kidding you. I would sit down like a half hour before, getting all this stuff ready, and my heart is just pounding out on my chest to the point where I'm almost afraid to hit start broadcast. But you know what I did? I hit start broadcast. And within a couple minutes of me talking, all those feelings and things went away. I enjoyed myself. I had a good time. Everybody liked what we were doing. And now I can sit down and I just kind of mundanely, I just push the buttons and go, yep, here's what we do. And I go, okay, we're ready to go. Yep, let's go. It's like driving a car. I don't know how I get home half the time. but I know where my house is, and my car just almost magically seems to drive that way. I know to press on the gas and steer the steering wheel, and that's all I got to do because I've been doing it a long time. So whatever you are afraid of, if you do it over and over and over again, you absolutely will get better at it. I guarantee you. It's an impossibility not to. I mean, you'd have to really be screwing something up for that to be true. So I'm going to go ahead and Cormac, any lasting thoughts, and then we'll end off with Pat there, and then we've got some emails and stuff that we're going to answer.
No, we could go into all how it works and all that. Maybe that's for another show. But generally, do it if you're struggling in business. This will work for you. It will. I'll leave some links in the show notes where you can contact us and all that sort of stuff. But this, as Jeff said there as well, you're nervous in front of the camera for the first time. If you're going live and all this sort of thing, you can pull it down if it doesn't work. You have the ability. We are now living in an age, folks, where we don't need advertising companies. We can do it. And you know something? If it doesn't work, pull it down. It's not a problem. And fair play for anyone who tries it. Okay.
I like it. Very good. Thank you very much. And Pat, any lasting thoughts on the whole social media thing?
Right. You need to be present. If you're asking your customers or your page a question, hey, what technology do you use and for X, Y, or Z? And then you go on vacation for a week, or you're taking a long weekend and people are trying to reach back to you for engagement. That's the wrong time to ask that question. Ask a question when you know you can be present. Download your Pages Manager to your phone so you can get that. A lot of businesses don't want to be bothered with the general public asking them questions. Well, that's how the general public is contacting people now, is here. And so you got to be there. And so don't be asleep at the switch. You got to be there.
Awesome. Great advice. And I think a lot of people can take a lot of stuff, a lot of good tips and tricks away from what we've talked about today. All right, let's take a quick second, and I want to thank our Patreon supporters. If you'd like to support this show, you can go to patreon.com/computer repair podcast. And I want to thank our newest Patreon supporters. We have Sean Scarfo, Alexander C., Marlo Selmarin, Shannon Lee. And I want to thank all of our Patreon supporters for your continued support. And what that gets you is $1 a show. You're looking at $4 a month, probably less than a really nice coffee nowadays in the US anyways. And what that will get you is that will get you into our secret Facebook group, where we've got about 92 individuals now, business owners, that basically you can ask questions, you can share, you can, it's a safe place. I'm a part of a lot of different Facebook groups. Actually, I've cut down a lot, but a lot of the Facebook groups out there, you're almost afraid to ask a question because people are not always so nice, and they sometimes forget where they've come from. So that's one of the reasons we do this through our Patreon supporters, is that we offer this so that they can come into a safe environment, and we don't put up with any of that, any of the political, religion, or any of that type of stuff. And we're nice when we answer the question. It's been very, very nice engagement for those that are involved. All right, let's go ahead and answer a couple of emails, or maybe even just read a couple of emails. I can't remember exactly what these all said. All right, so this first email says and this was from our, we were talking about what you do for setting up safety in your environment, whether it be your shop, your home, etc., for your business. And this is from Brent Sodders. Says, to start cheap, I recommend a few Wise computers, and that's cameras. I can't even read. So Wise cameras, WYSE. I've not heard of those, so definitely I'd be interested to know a little bit more about that. And load CompuTrace on a few company PCs, so if stolen, authorities can track your items and get a warrant. That's a good piece of advice there. And like I said, that's thanks from Brent Sodders. He also sent me another email. He said you can also use Prey instead of CompuTrace. And he says, thanks for your service. Thank you for the email, Brent. We appreciate that. All right, and let's see. This is from Greg Leaf. It says, Jeff, I'm a regular listener to your podcast and really enjoy listening to you and your guests. I also really enjoy the podcast How I Built This by NPR Radio. The host guy Raz really explores and finds out how his guests built their business from the ground up. I've often wondered that same things about yourself in your weekly guests. I thought it would also be helpful to all your listeners to learn from you and your guests about all the ups and downs in starting your businesses, including the highlights, great decisions, failures, and mistakes, as well as what they did to take their business to the next level in terms of adding more customers. I would also like to hear how those who are full-time techs transition from part-time to full-time and how they handled the risks associated with that. I appreciate the time you and your guests put into each week contributing to the podcast. I know you have helped many techs like myself along the way. Thanks, Greg Leaf. Thank you, Greg. Appreciate that. Yeah, and you know what? This was a great reminder of. And here's the thing: I've been doing this for 4 years. 4 years. I can still learn new things. So this is a great piece of advice. This is well formatted to let me know, hey, I really enjoyed this show over here, and I'd like to know more of the insides of what people did to grow their businesses. Great piece of advice, and definitely something we will be pulling more into the show. And that comes from mostly me of asking the right questions to get those answers to come out. So great reminder, and definitely appreciate that. All right, and this is another one. Says, hi, Jeff. Just wanted to let you know I really enjoy the show. Regards, Marlo. Thank you, Marlo. Appreciate that. All right, and I wanted, so this goes back to and I think we have one question actually out of all these, but this goes back to somebody had become a Patreon supporter, and I sent him a thank you and let him know about, how to get in the Facebook group and all that kind of stuff. And this is the email that I got back. Yeah, I was thanking them for being a Patreon, for being a Patreon supporter. It says, Jeff, it is I who should thank you. It is because of you, Door to Door Geek, who owns the Podnutz Network, and all the other in the Podnutz community. I am in business today doing what I love. I've been a longtime listener of all the Podnutz podcasts since the days of Steve C. And it's Steve Cherubino who started these shows way back in 2008. I took notes and gained inspiration from all the guests on the shows. I was encouraged by your commitment to the belief that money can be made in the break-fix field. Yep, still believe that today. I started my business in August of 2016, and it has done extremely well. I do not have a brick and mortar store, but I travel to customers' homes and businesses. I have a growing list of steady customers and many businesses I manage in my area. Thank you for all the years of advice and support. I wanted you to know that I am one person who is thankful for all your hard work and dedication. And this is CyberWiz Computer Services, Shannon Lee. Shannon, appreciate that. Definitely. These are the emails. When I get an email like this, these are the emails that make me want to continue to do what it is I do. A lot of people don't realize it, but there is this thing called life that sometimes gets in the way, and you're just you constantly struggle with, okay, should I continue to do this? Is anybody getting anything out of it? Is it worth the time and effort? And in my opinion, just to hear me speak is definitely not worth the time and effort. But if what we're saying or the guests that we're bringing on the show, if that's helping other people, then yes, then I'm willing to put forth the effort. And I'm thankful for the guests that come on the show, because without the guests, we would not have a show. That's all I can tell you there, because the guests are the one that bring the goods, and it makes a great discussion for what we do and how we can be better in our different businesses. All right, so last email, it says, and this is, everybody can answer this question: what warranty do you offer for refurbished computers when you sell them to your customers? And it's thanks Tim Petrie. So thank you for the question. Do you guys, either one of you guys, offer a warranty, or do you even mess around with selling refurbished computers? Do you sell new computers? How does your warranty work for those types of services?
What I do is usually, let's say it's for a hard drive as well. Let's throw that in there. I buy a hard drive that's got a 2-year warranty, and then warranty it for a year with them, because it always happens a year and 3 days later, it doesn't work anymore. So if I buy a refurb from Amazon, I'll buy the year or two. I'll usually buy the 2-year warranty on it, but offer them a year warranty, because then I looked like a good guy, and maybe an only extra $7 or $10 or whatever. But if I come in looking like a good guy on that deal, well, you've been a good customer, and it's only been a week over the warranty. Yeah, you ask Dell if it's a week over the warranty and how much they'll cover, or HP or one of those customers. You are officially out of luck, that type of thing. So I'll give them I'll do that. That's just, with it. A lot of people want to, I don't usually do that with laptops much though. I'll either direct them directly to Amazon or say, hey, there's really no warranty on this thing. If it's a bad hard drive, I'll cover it. Usually with the refurbished models, I will put a new hard drive in it on my own, just so I know that's not going to be the issue. But you never know. People are always asking me, hey, I thought about buying this refurbished laptop. Yeah, you don't know if somebody spilled a Pepsi on it or something. You just don't know that. So if I do that with all the refurbished computers, I put a new hard drive in it just so I know that it's fresh.
Okay. That's great advice. And I didn't even think about, you're right, these companies, especially Amazon or whatever, actually offer the extended warranty through Square Trade or whomever out there. Why not spend the little bit of extra money? And here's the thing. A lot of people, well, that's going to cost me more money. No. Listen, people, you just mark it up in your price, and the customer actually pays for the warranty, not you. So what does it matter? And you've been the good guy, like Pat said, and you've protected them. So you're doing your job. Yep.
And as well as I do, that computer will have a problem 3 days after the warranty ends, and Dell doesn't care about that. Right. They'll sell you the extended warranty at that point in time if they even do. But yeah, you can look like the good guy in this whole thing, and that's what I'm about.
Awesome. That is great advice. Cormac, what about you?
When it comes to reselling laptops, or like any stock, I travel light, and I want to be as honest as I can with the customer. I resell Malwarebytes antivirus because I use the tech bench, and I resell it because I use it myself. So when it comes to laptops, I don't also want all that money coming through my books. And if you get my meaning, in the sense, what I will do for a person, because I'm not turning away money, I will look at the 3 sites that I use, and I'll see which is the best offer that week. I will send them the link to the site and get them to get it delivered to Crosshaven computers, where I will set up the computer, wipe it, and set it up fresh. So I'm making money off it, and they're getting the warranty with the company they bought it off. We'll say a computer is 500 quid. There's not 500 quid coming into my books. Then I'm putting a profit on top of that, and then I have to put on, the setup computer. So really, by the time you're taxing, you're making nothing really off it. But you can send them the link, get it to your house. You tell them that you'll set it up properly. You'll sit down with them, etc., etc. And there's the money to be made there. They set up, they sit down, and that's how I make money. I make money by taking the time to look and see what's best for that particular customer. And then the warranty is all taken care of because it's a different company, So that's where I cover it,
Okay, that's good. And I probably do, when I send an email or answer back, I probably do a what I would call a hybrid approach, and meaning that I will do some of the same things these guys are doing. The warranty thing I didn't even think about, but I use a company, Cormac, close your ears because you probably can't use them because they're on Amazon. But SJ Computers, if you look them up on Amazon, that's where I get refurbished computers from. And here's the difference. Sometimes I will point the customer to that. I'll send them a link and say, hey, here's the computer you want. Go ahead and order it, get it in, and get it to me, and I'll get it set up for you. And I do a wipe. I do actually a fresh install, because however they've done it doesn't really matter. But John Dubinsky has been using this company for a long time for refurbished computers. And I'm going to tell you, here's the difference. I get the business class computer, so I get a Dell Latitude. And it's better because I used to send people to things like Best Buy or Walmart or whatever to get a computer. And really, if I think about it, I'm doing them a disservice because they're getting this piece of junk plastic laptop that if they knock it on the ground one time, it's going to bust into 1,000 pieces. So why not get them a nice refurbished laptop? And most of these come with The one I just ordered a few months ago, had an M.2, SSD in it, which was perfectly fine. If I needed to throw another SSD in there, I could do that really easily. They're easy to work on, which makes it nice. So even if you have to do some sort of support, and I like what Pat says, I probably would go ahead and try to add in an extra warranty on there and just kind of put that into my cost. Or I believe they give like a 90-day warranty on there. And my rule of thumb is this is a pretty solid company. These guys these computers look like brand new. And when you're getting them, you're going to know within the first 90 days of whether you're having problems or whatever. Now, electronics fail. Now, here's the thing. After that warranty, if the customer bought it, I would probably still, for labor free, I would probably replace the hard drive or whatever it is I had to do just to take care of the customer. And again, this is going to be on a customer by customer basis. There's customers that you really, they don't ever balk at what you charge them, and they just they pay the bill. Those are the ones I'm probably going to bend over backwards for. The ones that are kind of always nitpicky and going, hey, can I have some sort of discount? The worst thing you can ever do is ask me for a discount. If you ask me for a discount, I'm upping the price. That's how that works. So don't ask me for discounts. Anyways, that's my 2 cents on that. So hopefully that gives you some ideas, Tim, and hopefully you can kind of figure out what's going to work best for you. But I just learned something new today. Hey, why not just use the warranty service through Amazon? It's perfect. So good advice there. All right, let's go ahead, and I think we're going to get on out of here. And let's see, Pat, if you want to let people know where they can find you and get a hold of you and all your different things that you are doing, here's your time.
All right. Well, you can always go. I just got a new website. I went through Tech Site Builder. They were really handy. I had some questions, and of course, I got a 3-month free discount, which I didn't use because I bought that in November, and I finally got the website launched last week. So, procrastination. So it's thecomputerguy.bz is my website. I'm on Facebook at Pat the Computer Guy. Now, I don't use Instagram for computer stuff. I use Instagram for my own ego. If you want to follow my Instagram and see what I'm doing, that's at Yankspat, YANKZPAT. But that's just foolishness, and you'll think, what an idiot. And that's about all you'll. But this what I do is, and my hobby is, I chase down movie stars, and so and TV stars and politicians, and if you get in there long enough, you'll see the other people I chase down as well too. We don't have to mention it here, but so if you ever watched Happy Days, remember Happy Days?
Oh yeah,
met Mrs. C last week.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, that was cool. So
okay.
So I that's just a personal deal, and you can like it or lump it. But thecomputerguy.bz is my website, and I have icons across the top. I monkey around on Twitter a little bit. I'm not a Twitter-holic. I just follow, Alec Baldwin, see if I can play Words with Friends, that sort of stuff. But I'm not really in there. I have a YouTube channel, LinkedIn channel. But Facebook's my main deal, and I'd like to have folks follow that. And if you're from the United States or England or Ireland, you can now see me. Otherwise, if you're from somewhere other than those countries, you're not in Canada. You can see me up there too. So, but otherwise, I lock that down. I don't need to have anybody in Bangladesh seeing what I'm doing and leaving 1-star reviews. So that's how.
Awesome. Well, appreciate you coming out and sharing with us today. It's been awesome as usual. And Cormac, if you want to let people know where they can find more about you and your videos and whatnot.
Yeah. I tell you what, in the show notes there, I'm just looking at them. I have put in my Facebook page, my Instagram, and also I put in your Facebook Podnutz group, and also you'll find me in Tech for Techs, another Facebook group. I have that in there, and yeah, you'll find me there. And the other thing, the last thing I wanted to say, Jeff, I heard you say it on the show quite a few times. It would be great for any of the female techs listening out there to come on the shows to get more of a gender balance. I'm looking at students are asking me for work, a week's work here and trial, and I'm after getting 2 guys, but I would love to get a female tech as well. You know, just for that. So just a shout out to all. There's fabulous female techs in the groups there around, plays Alison in England and all this sort of things. So that'd be great to see. To it's not that scary on the show, folks. You know, Jeff is all right.
I'm nice.
Nice. You know?
No, and
nice. Yeah.
And we definitely have some people coming up that are going to be on the show. So I push the same thing. This is an open platform for anyone that wants to come on and share their story. And here's the thing. A lot of people will think they don't have a story to share. Here's what I tell you, that everybody has a story to share. And this is you don't see this medium a lot, where people can just come on and share their story about something it is they're passionate about, which is usually their computer repair business when it comes to this show. And so this is a great platform to be able to do that. So definitely, I second that, and appreciate all the stuff that you have brought to the show. And yes, these guys will send me the links that they have where they want people to follow, and they will be in the show notes, people. I know a lot of people have asked about that before. There's usually show notes with at least the email addresses and websites of the individuals that come on the show. I just put them in the hyperlink format inside the regular words, because I don't like the whole HTTPS, all that kind of stuff. So I just try to make it a little more pretty, I guess is the best word for that. So, all right, come join us live for the Computer Repair Podcast every Sunday at 4 p.m. Eastern over at podnutz.com/CRP Live. You can join in on a conversation by hanging out in the chat room. We get pretty good engagement going on there a lot of times. And you can also send an email to podnutz@podnutz.com, or you can leave a voicemail at 734-335-1000. I want to thank everyone for listening and subscribing to the show. We'll see you next time on the Computer Repair Podcast.
Thank you, Patrick. Thanks, Jeff.